What's up, YouTube Revolution? ZombfectedGaming 349 at your fingertips. So today, I would like to bring up a Dead Rising 5 concept video talking about what if Capcom could potentially do if they want to make this game actually happen, if the return of the Dead Rising franchise is a success, with the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, which is actually more of a remake on the Resident Evil RE engine, which powers all of the new Resident Evil games, including the Resident Evil remakes. So without further ado, roll the intro now. So first off, let's take a look at the leaked footage of the cancelled Dead Rising 5 game, which was actually called Dead Rising Dia de los Muertos. And as you can see here is the gameplay in this area. It's set in some sort of jungle, which most zombie game fans would say this looks very similar to Dead Island 1's tropical island setting, which is called Banoi, which is located in the Pacific Ocean. I think the rumors were that Dead Rising Dia de los Muertos was gonna be set in Mexico or Central America, which is where the Dead Rising parasite originated from. The Dead Rising parasite originated in a Central American fictional place called Santa Cabeza because the US government was experimenting on cows to make the cows eat more so the beef would be more thicker, I think, but it led to a zombie outbreak in Santa Cabeza. And a lot of Dead Rising fans want to see a prequel Dead Rising game actually set in Santa Cabeza, and the closest we were gonna get a setting similar to that was this cancelled Dead Rising game. But let's talk about the gunplay in this Dead Rising game, which looked kinda smooth for this unfinished product, and I want to talk about how guns work in the Dead Rising games, since you can't reload your guns. You have to use all the bullets that are currently in the magazine, and when there's no ammo, that's it, you throw the gun away. It's very similar and reminds me of the old Grand Theft Auto games. When you are out of ammo, the gun gets thrown away. But difference is, at least in the older Grand Theft Autos, you can load a new magazine that has ammo for the gun that is left over, but when you're out of magazines, that's it, the gun gets thrown away. But back to this Dead Rising, it's hard to tell if you're gonna keep the gun and actually reload the gun, because if you look down in the corner at the HUD, right here, it almost looks like you have extra ammo in the other magazine, I think, but it's hard to really see. I just would love to see a Dead Rising game actually allow you to reload a gun magazine rather than just throw it away after dispensing 1 mag of bullets. But I think the reason Capcom made it like this is because they want to make you use melee weapons much more, since Dead Rising is more melee focused than firearms focused. But I would just want to see you be able to reload guns, because when you're up against the psychopath boss battles that have guns, they don't run out of ammo. It gets tricky trying to fight them when you don't have the range to shoot them, meanwhile you're stuck with a melee weapon. I would love to have more accessibility with my guns when fighting another person with a gun or is extremely powerful, because let's be honest, the American foundation of the Second Amendment is arming citizens to use guns to protect your rights and your family from something or someone extremely dangerous. Even though I'm not American, I'm a Canadian and I know the American constitutional rights very well. But anyways, let's move on to talking about some of the other areas in Dead Rising Dia de los Muertos, which is the shantytown slums looking area. First off, when I see an area like this, I think of the first Dying Light game with its open world map known as Haran, and it's a particular area in Haran called the Slums, which looks like this. I think Capcom might have wanted to inspire their map off of Dead Island with the jungles and Dying Light's slummy looking area, since I think around the time Capcom was probably looking at ideas that were trending in the zombie genre, which was Dying Light's open world. Also, just so you know, Dying Light is the spiritual successor to Dead Island 1, which was created by Techland. They are both the creators of Dead Island 1 and the Dying Light games. Also, let's take a look at those bricks on the walls. Those are potentially things that you can climb onto and stuff to climb up onto the buildings. Also right here on both left and right side, there's these orange bar things that we can climb onto. And right here, there's more of those orange bars that climb up onto. It's probably was going to work similarly to Uncharted of how you can climb. And then we can see a zip line right here, which is also pretty sick to see too. I would love to see zip lines in Dead Rising. I think it's confirmed. Capcom probably wanted it to be parkour focused. But I want to know your guys' opinions. Do you think a Dying Light looking, Slums looking environment with parkour mechanics would work for a Dead Rising game? I think it would work because Dead Rising kind of does have that parkour, mechanics to it, but expanding upon it and giving it an Assassin's Creed like parkour maneuvering system, Dying Light maneuvering system, Uncharted / maybe a little bit of Mirror's Edge. I don't think they should go fully into like wall running like Dying Light 2 or Mirror's Edge because, this is Dead Rising, it's not Dying Light. Like maybe having a bit like Dying Light 1's parkour makes sense a little bit because that's slightly more of a basic parkour system. But let's now talk about how a Dead Rising 5 could kind of potentially learn a bit from Days Gone. So Days Gone is a open world zombie apocalypse game, or shall I say freaker game, since that's what they are called in it. But Days Gone reminds me of Dead Rising at times because of the amount of freakers that can be on screen at once. Days Gone also has a pretty good melee weapon system as well, but difference is you can repair your melee weapons, and the Dying Light games and Dead Island games you can repair them as well. But also in Days Gone, you can of course reload your guns. Just imagine if you couldn't reload your guns in Days Gone and throw them away while you're dealing with a horde of freakers. That would be really scary. But yeah, about those horde feeding grounds in Days Gone, imagine if a Dead Rising 5 had horde zombie feeding grounds that had different types of zombies that run at you like in Days Gone and World War Z style. I think this would be a fun activity to have and learn from Days Gone. Also, back to the parkour system, it would be a great survival mechanic to have in an activity like this because parkour is a great survival mechanic since getting to higher ground is a necessity when you're getting overwhelmed by a zombie horde, and Days Gone has a bit of parkour for Deacon for his survival. Also, there's a motorcycle in Days Gone that has a refilling your gas mechanic, so if you run out of gas, you gotta push your bike to the nearest gas station to refill. Also, if your vehicle breaks so much over time too, you also have to find parts to fix it up. So in the Dead Rising game, that would actually be kind of good to allow you to fix up your vehicles. These mechanics in a Dead Rising game would add to the survival mechanics in the game, so you gotta take care of your vehicles properly and think outside the box. But yeah, those are the ideas I have for potentially a Dead Rising 5 if Capcom does it. And what would you guys think? What type of game could Dead Rising 5 learn from? What other games do you guys have in mind? Consider leaving some comments down in the comments section below. And also, if you're a Dead Rising fan, Dying Light fan, Days Gone fan, Dead Island fan, or Resident Evil fan, or any type of zombie media in general type fan, consider subscribing to my channel and ding that bell icon really hard so I can always stay within fast reach of your fingertips when new uploads arrive. ZombfectedGaming 349 over and out. Run!